welcome back to another week, another video. I've been really excited to record this video all week, so I've kind of been like writing little notes and just getting excited because talking about confidence, learning about this whole subject, how to gain confidence, it's just had such a really positive impact on, not just my business, although obviously that's what we're going to talk about, but just everything. So I'm hoping what I'm going to say is going to help you out as well, because it's just helped me out so much. So let's talk about confidence. I think we see confidence as kind of something that people have either got or they haven't. Like some people are confident, some people are shy, and it's quite a straight line. But if you think about it, you're probably like quite confident in some areas of your life and really not confident in others. For example, with me, I was quite confident with my ability to sew. It sounds like I think I'm really good, or like it wasn't that, it's not that. Like say when I started getting my first sewing job, I wasn't nervous about the sewing. I knew where my level was. I knew I still had stuff to learn, but I knew I would be able to learn that. I didn't have a massive problem with that. But on the other side, in terms of talking to people, like interviews for jobs, talking to people on the phone, I was massively underconfident. On the phone was the worst, I think, because you can actually avoid that. You can't so much avoid talking to people in real life as easily as the phone. So I would rarely pick up the phone if anyone rang me, and I would rarely ring anyone, to be honest. And it was quite bad. Like in my 20s, I remember when I met my partner, like I just didn't have a phone for ages. I hated talking to people on the phone that much that I ended up just not having a phone, which is quite rare for someone. I'm only like 33 now. This was like 5 years ago. Everyone's literally attached to their phone. I just couldn't even bear to have one. That's extreme and that's a bit weird. But in terms of general just being quite quiet and dreading presentations at uni, all of that kind of stuff, that normal kind of shyness and being a bit awkward and underconfident, like that's probably quite common, and I was definitely like that as well. So I had all of that going on, and I was obviously trying to start this business, which was like me sewing and making bags, and starting up a social media account, which kind of went against the grain of everything I had believed in before. As I was researching how to do well on social media and stuff like that, I was coming across a lot of, you have to put yourself forward, you have to show up and like be the face of your business and, make it personal, all these things that I was reading and thinking, well, I can't do that. And not only was I reading these things, I kind of was seeing it. I was realising that when I was out and I was thinking about social media and thinking about other accounts, the only accounts I could recall were people that I knew what they looked like. The rest of them were probably just a blur of like bits and bobs, but the ones that I could think about, I knew what the person looked like. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm starting to think, oh gosh, do I have to put myself on my social media? Like, I don't think I can do that. And then there was the next straw was kind of like when I was at a market, I'd already worked out before doing this craft market that the finances weren't going to kind of work for me, and the timings, the weekends, like it wasn't really the way I wanted to go. I definitely wanted to do the internet thing. But when I was at the market, when I was talking to people, say people would meander over and they would maybe look at my bag, and I'd put like what I thought was so much information about how they were made in like photo frames and stuff, and put it on, my sign, Vintage Fabrics. But actually nobody really reads any of that. And so I'd kind of awkwardly be like, oh, they're made out of vintage fabric. And I could see them being like, oh, okay. And then they might ask another question, and then I'd be like, oh yeah, they're actually made out of a pair of jeans that my friend was throwing away, and I thought it was good fabric, so I used that. And I could see, even though I was probably like being quite weird and awkward, as I was talking about what I was doing, there was a switch like that, and people were going from just wandering past, just poking their noses in, to like, yes, I'll have this bag, please. And that happened multiple times throughout this weekend. It was as soon as I started talking about the fabrics or whatever, people were switching and saying, yes, I want into this. Because I was writing a lot of notes at this market, because I was thinking, okay, well, markets aren't going to be for me. I've already booked in for the weekend. I've got to get something out of this. I've got to do some market research and write some notes. So I was very much noticing a trend of people being vaguely interested to people buying, with me mumbling something awkward in between. That was kind of the final straw of just cementing what I already knew that I had to do. I had to get this, whatever I was doing there, onto the internet so that I could make sales on the internet, because that's what I wanted to do. The evidence was kind of racking up, and I could deny no more that what I had to do, I was going to have to start talking about my work and posting it online. So the question now is, how do I go from barely being able to pick up the phone to call the doctors to recording myself talking and then posting that on the internet? It was quite a big leap, and I can't remember which one I did first, but I did try and record some videos. First one I tried to do, it was actually just for Etsy, because there was a little bit where you could put a video, and I thought that's kind of less, it seems a bit more inconspicuous than Instagram, so I'll start with that. So I put the camera on, I got some bags, and I tried to do a recording, and then I looked at it after, and I was absolutely horrified at how slowly I spoke, how drony I was, how weird I looked, like the whole lot, you know. I was like, oh gosh. That's bad, you know, I can't post that. I thought, right, well, I'll do another one, and I'll speak a bit faster, and I'll try and smile, and I'll try and look a bit happier, you know. Did another one, and I was all like, hi, my name's Anna. These are the bags I make. I watched that. That one was worse than the first one. That one, I was like, that's not me. For a start, I was kind of like thinking, I don't know if this is going to work for me. I think at this point I then did the cringeworthy thing, which I'm hoping someone else has done too, where I googled how to be confident. Well, as I was typing it, it came up, so I was like, okay, I'm not the only person in the world who's googled this, thank gosh. This search did actually come up with the answer I needed, so that was great. It came up with, among like a load of kind of tosh saying, just be yourself. Which is really helpful. There was one woman called Mel Robbins who had done it, who she does podcasts, I think. I really like her. She's funny. Something that she said really just stuck with me, because this was like yonks ago when I watched this, probably over a year ago, and it's just stuck with me ever since. And it's so simple, but she basically was just saying that there is no secret answer of how to be confident, like that. Confident has a direct link and can only come from competent. And I was like, you know, to think about it, I can easily take some fabrics and sit down at the sewing machine and be confident that I can make something with it. Well, yeah, because I started sewing when I was a child. I did like costume making at university. I've then worked, you know, professionally maybe for the past 6 years, like every day hammering the sewing machine. I've probably got enough experience by now to be fairly competent and therefore fairly confident. So that makes sense. Have I ever picked up the phone or camera or whatever and taken a video of myself and then proceeded to post that online for other people to see? Of course I haven't. I've barely picked up the phone before. Do I have competence in that? No. Why would I? I have no experience, therefore I'm not competent, and therefore I'm not confident in it. So that all was like, okay, well that actually really makes sense. And then, so she has a definition of confidence, which was, confidence is the willingness to try, which does also make sense as well. If it's directly linked with competence, you can't get competent at something unless you try it and do it. And a good thing about that is that you know that that's going to work. Okay, if I try something, even if I'm rubbish at it first time, I will have learned something from that that will make me better the second time. And if I keep trying, you can only get better, only get more competent, therefore you can only grow in confidence. And that kind of all seems like pretty simple enough. But then the snag that we hit here is that we're trying to not only learn a new skill here, which is the kind of talking, you know, talking to the camera, talking about ourselves and our work and stuff, and not shying away from things. We're then trying to kind of do it in front of people, like in public, because we're going to be posting these things online. We would never normally, if we were going to learn a skill, we would never normally do it in public, surely. Like, for example, at the moment, I'm trying to learn the piano and I'm doing it at home, you know, with some easy adult learning books, and I'm, you know, probably not that great, but it's fine because no one's watching. Like, if you said to me now, Anna, if you really want to learn the piano, every time you practice now, it has to be in a concert hall with loads of people. All of a sudden, it's gone from something that's fine to something that's really nerve-wracking and I don't want to do. So that's kind of, we're asking a lot of ourselves here. But hey, you know, like, we're not going live. It's not like when we switch our phone on, it goes live out to the internet, you know. We can practice, we can record one thing, try and edit it and think, you know what, I'm a bit boring there, maybe I'm waffling a bit there. You know, we can still do that. I remember like the first time I was recording myself, I used to just put it on like camera on my phone and video, and I didn't know how to edit it or anything, so I used to think I have to say everything in one go and that's what I'm posting. I mean, there's loads of different apps you can use for editing. Like, I'm a bit of a dinosaur when it comes to phones, obviously. So I just use this app that's on my phone called Clips. It's on an iPhone. Literally record one video and then you can snip it, delete all the bits out that you're going like, and that makes life a bit easier. But yeah, it's a really hard and it was really daunting thing for me to kind of get my head around the fact that I was going to have to do this. And I watched a few bits online and I came across like a lot of people saying it doesn't matter at the beginning because you have no audience. Your audience is probably really small, so therefore no one's watching, so like it doesn't matter. I don't think this is helpful and kind of all true. Like, I think you actually care a lot more at the beginning because you feel like the whole world's watching, even though they may not be. It's such a kind of alien thing. Even when you're doing it in your room on your own to the camera, you feel like, you know, really awkward and weird, like you're being watched. Also, I think a reason why that's not helpful is because however small your audience may be, you've probably got some of your family and friends or even colleagues following your account. They're the people we care about. We don't really care about the people we don't know elsewhere. Like, we don't know who they are. We don't really care about looking silly in front of them. It's the people that we personally know and personally know us. That's who we care about. And I think like a big thing with being confident or having lack of confidence is because we all care so much about what other people think about us. That's where it stems from. Because I used to think that being confident and your personality were like the same. I used to think you either had a confident personality or not. But they're two completely different things, because that scared me as well, because I kind of, when I was trying to become confident, I thought, is my personality going to change? Like, that's quite a scary thought. They're completely two different things. And if you think about it, you're at your most confident when you're with maybe just that one person who knows you the most, who you live with, or something like that. That's your true personality. And that's actually what we end up hiding for everyone else, because we care so much about what people think. And that's mainly the people who know us, like our colleagues. And like, hence the reason when I started my business, I didn't tell anyone at work. And it was like a year, I think, I was kind of hiding this, what I was doing from everyone, because I was just too embarrassed. I cared what they thought, like, a lot. And also, before I posted one picture of myself, you know, just a picture saying, "Hi, my name's Anna," on Instagram, I deleted all of my friends from following my account, apart from one who accidentally slipped through the net, who then went to, you know, comment a really nice supportive comment on that picture anyway. So it was like, okay. But you know what I mean? Like, these were the people I cared about. These were the people who I cringed when I thought about it the most. But there was a couple of times that kind of got me through thinking this a bit. So there was one time when I was with some people and one had just done a course, like a pottery course. It came up because I was talking about my starting this bag making business. And they said, "Oh yeah, I've just done a pottery course." And then it just got on to someone else from their pottery course who wasn't very good, and she's started up a business too. And she's you know, she's putting it all on the internet and she's saying she's got this studio when it's just a room in her house, ha ha ha. And she wasn't even that good and stuff. I was kind of thinking, firstly, I doubt if she's sitting around talking about anyone else on their course, because she's probably quite busy trying to realise all of the dreams that she has and trying to make her life different. So yeah, she might not have been the best in the class, but she's got a home studio now, so she's probably getting quite a lot of practice in, and she'll probably overtake everyone who's gone back to their normal lives sitting around moaning about things. So yeah, I'd probably rather be on the side of the person who's doing it and making it happen, and like, who cares if anyone's sitting around? Which they're probably not. Like, let's be honest, your friends and family are not going to sit around and badmouth you for trying to do something. They're probably going to think, "Gosh, she's brave. I wish I had the confidence to do that." And like, there was this other time when I was in a situation with a group of people, and the radio was on, and there's this program on Radio 4 where someone comes on and they've just started a business and they're talking about how they've done it and stuff like that. I obviously find that quite interesting. And this girl had came on, woman, and she had a very strong Liverpool accent that everyone else in the room was just really like repeating everything she said in a really strong Liverpool accent. really just like ripping her to shreds about this accent. I was really trying to listen to what she had to say because I was, find it quite interesting. And lo and behold, what she was saying was she found it like she had a lot of struggles at the beginning because of her accent, and she was a small, blonde woman with a strong Liverpool accent, and she said she'd go into boardrooms in London and sometimes men would even just say to her, "You're not going to get anywhere when you look and sound like that." I mean, who says that anyway? But she'd kept on going, and I was just really thinking, I like this girl. She was saying, because she had a man who was an assistant, sometimes she'd walk, into business places or whatever, and they'd shake his hand and greet him, and they'd welcome them in and stuff, and completely ignore her. And as soon as they got into the boardroom or whatever, she would say, "Anyway, I think I've made my mind up with this. This isn't going to work for us." And they'd be like, "This woman is a badass. Like, I want to be her. I don't want to be the people sitting around not listening to what she has to say," which is really interesting because they're commenting on her accent and stuff like that, I want to be the person who's making her pottery dream happen in a room in her house. And I want to be the person who doesn't care what people think of her because of menial things like what she sounds or looks like. And it's funny really because I listen to quite a few books and stuff on small businesses and mindset and stuff, and they always say never listen to your friends and family. Maybe unless they've done or are trying to do exactly what you've done, then they're the worst people to listen to. But also you can see why, they'll just either tell you it's not going to work, or everyone becomes an expert on something that they just don't know about really. So yeah, so I think if you're worried about what your friends and family are going to think, a really good thing to do is to think about the future. Think about where you want to be, visualize that, and just know that you're going to have to get over some of these hurdles in order to get there. And yes, you might feel a bit silly doing it now. Yes, your friends and family might even, I've had so many different reactions from friends and family. Some friends have been really, really supportive. Some people just don't take it seriously at all. Some, I felt like maybe some family members have thought, don't encourage her. They're not going to talk about it at all with me because they don't want to encourage me because I'm giving up a job in order to do something all of these different reactions I've had. I have to say that now it started working for me. Everyone suddenly acts like they've supported you the whole way along, and that'll happen as well. So you just need to fight through this difficult bit. And I think another thing is that if you do this, you will start getting an audience. And when you have an audience, it kind of validates everything you're doing. And therefore other people say, "Oh, they're getting popular, they must be doing well." And all of a sudden it all changes. Everyone supports you then. So really the only thing you can do now to become confident, let's say in talking about your work and recording yourself and posting that online, is to accept your incompetence now, because you've just started something. Whatever you had just started, you would be incompetent at it. It just so happens that we're putting it online, but let's just try and forget about that bit. Just be confident in the fact that if you keep going, you will only get better, and therefore giving you the competence that will then just naturally turn into confidence that probably seems really far away right now. The good thing is it's not like you start it and you've got to wait for ages for this confidence to suddenly click in. The more you do it little by little, the more confident you get. You'll get more confident with editing your videos as well, if that's something you think you're going to struggle with. I definitely did. You'll get more confident knowing what works with your audience. You'll get more confident just being able to express yourself and talk about your work. I know when I used to read things saying, "Oh, you need to show your passion for your work by speaking about it," and I'd think, well, I'm not like Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen. I'm really monotonous, and I don't really have this passion. But I've realised that actually just one person genuinely talking about what they do, the passion will come through no matter what, if you're loud or if you're quiet or anything. So don't feel like you have to be like this kind of flamboyant, passionate person who speaks eloquently about what they do or anything, just being yourself just works wonders really. Being yourself is the thing that's at first really hard to get the confidence or to even think about doing that. In a way it's probably easier for someone to try and put on a bit of an act and stuff, but in the long run, when you're confident with just being yourself, it makes making your content for social media really, really easy, because you can just switch on the camera, say something, don't even think about it. It's a few minutes. Now, a big mistake I see people making with this is, because I've had a lot of people previously message me on Instagram saying, how are you doing this? Like, I feel like I'm stuck, not growing and not doing anything. My account's not going anywhere. Like, how are you doing this? And I say it's literally just taking videos of myself talking and putting them online. Like, that is what's growing my account right now. And most people, to be honest, just say I can never do that, so that's that, done. But there are a few people who give it a go. And what I will say is, don't make this mistake, which is recording one video, probably putting a lot into it, thinking, oh, I'm really not enjoying this, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to post it. This one video, posting that one video, because any kind of success, it doesn't happen overnight, and you wouldn't want it to either. It's the same with this. You don't just post one video and suddenly your Instagram account catapults into the air. Because quite frankly, as we've just discussed, that first video that you make probably isn't going to be very good because it's the first one you've done. Like, that's fine. We need to do quite a lot before we start getting really good at it, and that's the same with anything in life. But yeah, I see so many people posting one video, and it's obviously taken quite a lot for them to do. They've posted this one video, they think, oh, I didn't get as much of a response from that. I probably enjoyed it far less than the response I got from it, you know? And that's that. You never post another one. You really need to, what I would do is say, commit to a certain amount of maybe posts per week for a certain amount of time. Don't just plan on making and posting one, plan a few, maybe get a few recorded and ready before you post the first one, so you can kind of keep that ball rolling, keep that momentum. You would never give up that easily, I don't think, in many other things. It would be like me with the piano, sitting down playing one song, being like, oh, that was awful. Not doing that again, Of course it's going to be awful because I don't know how to play the piano. We've all learnt to walk at some point by standing up, falling over, standing up, falling over. And if you went in, you started an actual job in the workplace and they gave you a task to do and you did it the first time you did it and it wasn't very good, you would be crazy just to say, right, that wasn't very good. Nice to know you. Guys, I'm off. This clearly isn't the job for me. Bye, see you later. No one would do that. You would just come back the next day and you would try it again and you would eventually be able to do it with your eyes closed because you've done it so many times. It's just so much easier for us when we're in control of what we're doing to decide we don't want to do the things that we don't want to do and therefore not do them. When in real life, in real jobs, we don't really have that. If we're working for someone else, we don't really have that. So I don't know what I'm waffling about now. Right, once again, I wanted this to be a really organised talk and I feel like it's kind of gone on many tangents, but I'm hoping that you've been able to take something away from this. So what I really want you to take from it is obviously the fact that confidence doesn't just come from nowhere, it has to come from competence, and competency has to come from giving things a go. That is like the main thing, and it really is that easy. In terms of doing things that you don't want to do, really you just have to decide, what life do you want to live? Do you want to achieve the things that clearly you're setting out to achieve, or do you want the fact that you're feeling a bit uncomfortable about doing certain things to completely rob you of all of that? Sounds dramatic, but it's true. I'm thinking because it's such a big subject and I've learned a lot about it. Next week I'm going to talk about marketing, how to market your like crafty, handmade, small, whatever business on using social media. It's a big subject, but I'm thinking now we've kind of hopefully got over the hurdle of recording ourselves. Now we can talk about, well, what we need to show everyone. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Golly, I hope you've got something out of that, and hopefully see you next week.